So next up, we have a presentation from Neuroscientific Biopharmaceuticals with the ticker code NSB to tell us more about their novel drug therapies for neurodegenerative conditions. I will now hand you over to Dr. Alexandra Andrews. Hello, Alex. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Jane. Thanks so much for having me. And I sympathise that word neurodegenerative is a struggle. So I've said that quite a few times today, but thank you for the opportunity to share the neuroscientific story with your audience today. What I wanted to do today is briefly go through what makes our technology and our target market so attractive and run you through where we plan to go over the next 6 to 12 months. So as an overall snapshot, this slide summarises where we're at and what we're developing. Neuroscientific is developing a novel first-in-class therapeutic drug that can help people living with neurodegenerative conditions that currently have little treatment options available. We're doing this by developing and commercialising our lead drug candidate, Emptinb. This is a drug that's able to protect and regenerate nerve cells while also reducing inflammation. We've got fantastic efficacy data from multiple animal models of neurodegenerative conditions, including Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, and glaucoma. Throughout the course of development of this product, we've conducted over 40 preclinical trials, which have all pointed towards this drug being safe and effective. We've conducted this preclinical research in collaboration with our highly credible research partners across the world, primarily in the US and the UK. And we're now getting ready to start our phase 1 clinical trials early next year, which we're well funded for. So the company listed in 2018 in an oversubscribed IPO. Excuse me. We've got 143.5 million shares on issue. Our largest shareholder is Macrae Investment, which is the large family office of the Clough family. We've got 12.3 million cash in the bank, and that's more than enough to cover all our R&D costs over the next 12 months. Our company was founded by Matt Lidlow and Anton Uvarov. They've both got vast experience in corporate development and capital markets, as well as having science backgrounds. And we're fortunate enough to have the great Paul Rennie as company chairman. Paul's got a lot of experience and success in biotech companies. He founded and is still currently the CEO and chairman of Emptinb Biopharmaceuticals, a company he took from a startup to a $500 million company. He also played an important role at Mesoblast, where he was the former COO and executive VP for new product development. So it's safe to say he's got a lot of experience and success under his belt when it comes to growing biopharmaceutical companies. Neurodegenerative diseases is a term that encompasses many different diseases, including things like Alzheimer's and other dementias, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, and many more. What's happening in all these diseases is that the neurons are breaking down and dying. And currently, there are no disease-modifying treatments out there that can actually stop and repair these nerves from dying. The global market for these conditions is huge. 55 million people have Alzheimer's or associated dementias. However, this is likely to be a gross underestimation. It's the most expensive disease to have in the US, and there's an exorbitantly high demand for more effective treatment options which can actually stop the disease in its tracks and prevent people from losing their memory. This has been a landmark year in the field of Alzheimer's because in the middle of the year, Biogen got their first Alzheimer's drug approved for an amyloid antibody. This is the first new drug to be approved in the Alzheimer's space for over 20 years, and as a result, saw Biogen's market cap soar. It's currently sitting at around US $40 billion, and it's no wonder, considering the revenue that'll come from a successful Alzheimer's program. It's estimated that Adulam, which is the drug, will pull in around US $5.5 billion globally by 2027. Multiple sclerosis, on the other hand, affects 2.5 million people and usually strikes people in their 30s. It's a progressive disease with increasing disability. The costs for people living with MS are incredibly high, from $30,000 a year for people with no disability to over $100,000 a year for people with more severe disability. So there's a significant opportunity to develop better treatment options for these patients, and large pharmaceutical companies are all on the lookout for good assets that can do just that. To briefly explain the way Emptinb works, we've got the following animation. Please click. So here we have a healthy neuron firing away. However, when people experience neurodegeneration, what's happening is that the structure of these neurons starts to break down. And because neurons can't replicate themselves, we need to repair them before they die. So that's what Emptinb does. And here it comes and binds to the LRP1 receptor, which then activate intracellular signaling molecules, which promote survival and regeneration of that neuron. So then we see this repair and regeneration, and now the neuron is healthy and signaling again. One of the things about clinical research that's really important is to make sure that you do the groundwork in terms of your preclinical research before going to the next phase. We've conducted over 40 preclinical studies that have added to our body of research around EmtinB. The data is incredibly promising and exciting. We've been able to show that EmtinB is able to regenerate damaged nerves, reduces neuroinflammation, and is highly neuroprotective. In animal models of disease, we've shown that EmtinB is able to rebuild the myelin in our multiple sclerosis models. It improved cognitive outcomes in Alzheimer's disease models and improved the condition of the optic nerve in glaucoma models. And all of this is accompanied by advanced safety data. Our preclinical program is due to complete soon, allowing us to commence our phase 1 clinical trials in healthy human volunteers early next year. The first trial will be centred around capturing safety data for our neurology program and consist of around 90 healthy human volunteers who will be recruited through our partners at Linear Clinical Research based here in Perth. Our preclinical IND work in the ocular indication are due to complete late 2021, and clinical trials in glaucoma patients are expected to start early next year. The results from phase 1 will take around 9 months to be finalised, and then we should be ready to commence our phase 2 study in multiple sclerosis or Alzheimer's disease by end of Q4 next year. We are pleased to have attracted some of the top research partners around the world. We've got an outstanding team of scientific advisors as well, with a vast experience running clinical trials. So it's fantastic to have these guys on board. So to summarise, NSB is developing a peptide-based drug with a broad range of applications across the neurodegenerative space, but we're most focused at the moment on MS, Alzheimer's disease, and glaucoma. We've conducted numerous preclinical studies and have compelling data showing that it stimulates neural survival, neuroprotection, and decreases neuroinflammation, as well as a host of other positive effects. In addition to our very compelling preclinical data, we've got comprehensive information on the drug's mechanism of action. And this is important as it's the data that big pharma are interested in. And the more attractive we can make ourselves look to big pharma, the better. Our program is supported by strong safety data. One of the benefits of being a peptide-based drug is that peptides are generally extremely safe with very low risk of side effects. Our next steps are to commence our first phase 1 human clinical trial while continuing to collect our IND-enabling data. What we have here is a high-growth stock with multiple inflection points imminent. Neuroinflammation is a hot topic right now, and we have repeatedly shown that we are very effective at reducing neuroinflammation. If what we're seeing in our rigorous preclinical studies translates to humans, we have a game-changing drug for people with neurodegenerative diseases. Thank you for your attention, and thanks to Broker Briefing for the chance to participate in today's webinar. We hope this explains the compelling NSB investment proposition, and if you've got any questions after the presentation, please feel free to forward them to either myself or our Managing Director, Matt Lidlow. Thanks so much.
Thank you for that, Alex. We've had quite a few questions come through. Let me jump into them for you. So how do we know if the drug is safe?
Well, it's very safe because it's based on a naturally occurring protein that's already found in the human immune system. This protein is called metallothionein too, and we've synthetically copied an element of this natural protein. So it's very similar to what's already existing in our body, and our body doesn't recognise it as anything foreign. It sort of accepts it as part of our natural immune system.
Wonderful. And when will NSB know if the drug works?
So we are currently about to start the phase 1, which is the main aim is just to look at safety. That's the only concern that phase 1 has. And as I said just before, we're looking, it's very high chance of it being totally safe and going all the way through phase 1. And then the next step will be going to phase 2, which will be looking more at efficacy outcomes.
Wonderful. And just finally, Alex, so given the current unmet needs in most of EmtinB's targeted therapies, what is the likelihood that fast track approval can be achieved?
That's a really great question, and I will have to get back to you offline about that one. But yes, it's been discussed.
Wonderful. It sounds very interesting. Well, thanks as always. Thank you for coming on to Broker Briefing. We look forward to further updates.
Thanks so much, Jane.